What's up? What's up, y'all? We back. We yes. Oh, we said, come on now. Let's go. All right. Instagram always give me a little, you know what I mean? All right. So we tapped in. We tapped in. We tapped in. See how y'all feeling today, man. Okay. Let's make sure the live is good. Oh yeah, we good. Everything is tapped in. Okay. Let's get it. Let's get it, y'all. So uh I want to kick this a little bit, you know what I mean? We live. I can hear it. That's all I really worry about, y'all. Is just making sure that we can hear it and that we got some good reception. What's up, M. Dot, the one and only? I am live, y'all. I always want to check. I muted this and it's still, you know what I mean? But I just always want to check and make sure that we are tapped in. Let's see what the comments looking like. What's up? If y'all not following me on YouTube, the YouTube channel is that's the YouTube channel. That is where the most action is. Well, you should be able to just click on that link and join me on YouTube, y'all. If you are not on YouTube, you can always catch me on Facebook. And we are live streaming on Instagram. Some people ask me how you do that because most of these softwares they don't allow you to stream to Instagram, but it's easily done. It's called a stream key. It takes about 2 or 3 additional clicks to get over here on Instagram, but we live, y'all. So I thank y'all for tapping in on Instagram. What's up? What's up? Big Cola, Big Cola, Little Cola now. Shout out to Cola for tapping in. Shout out to M Dot for tapping in. Let me see who else tapped in over here on uh, Wings. What's up, Tone? See Tone tapped in. I want to thank all of y'all for hitting that view button when y'all see me in my element. You know what I mean? So we about 2 weeks. Let me see. We about 3 weeks out of the new year, and all hell done broke loose. All hell done broke loose. So I get with my lady today, and I'm not, although I do these videos and different things like that, I'm not on social media as much as you may think I'm on here. So a lot of times I'm posting, I'm getting off of here, and I try to be active while I'm on here. I'm not a person that gets on social media and like scrolls all day. I'm a person that gets on here and gets active. So if you see me on here liking your pictures or commenting, that's when I'm on social media. I'm not on there all day scrolling. Like I literally come on, I click on here and I give my input on whatever I see. And today I hadn't done like any social media in the whole morning. Like I literally I came home from the gym and my lady was like, "Man, you see the Pap and Remy thing is all held and broke loose." And I didn't have a clue, to be honest, right? I didn't have a clue. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "Nah, I ain't seen it." So I was getting my food together and I was just like scrolling. I'm like, "Dang, they tripping." So after I get myself together, I jump up and make me a little quick video clip or whatever, a little news clip, and I'm like, dang, I don't wish bad on anybody. I already knew what was going on because I'm big on the battle rap thing. So I had already had a pretty good idea that, they was on the outs and Pap was just literally taking a high road. And that's what all came out today. So what came out today was Pap had I wouldn't say inappropriate, I guess it would be inappropriate because they're still married. So he had inappropriate dealings with Clarissa Shields, and I was like, "Dang, this crazy." You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just crazy because she hit a little closer to home. So I'm like, "Dang, man," now all hell done broke loose. So then Pap get the posting, you know, he was trying to do the right thing for X, Y, and Z and whatever else he had going on. And I'm like, dog, now it's like, okay, the gloves off. No shot at Clarissa, but he like, look, man, the gloves off. And now he's admitting to knocking dog out last year or whatever, 2 years ago, whatever it was, man. So now he's admitting to knocking Easy the block captain out. And he's saying after he did that, uh Remy went with Easy and kissed his wounds, basically. Like, you went with dog and you kissed his wounds. And he like, look, I went home to my kid, my daughter, for 4 days while you was over there kissing that man wounds. And Pep made a really reasonable statement. He said, I didn't knock him out because he was sleeping with my wife. I knocked him out because he shook my hand and then slept with my wife. Right? It's principles, like dog told Smokey, man. It's the principalities. It's principalities to this shit, Smokey. So at the end of the day, right? Whether we agree with what he did and how he handled himself in the situation, um, as a man, I would have to say that that is a little disrespectful, especially if you don't have any prior dealings with her, and you come and you talk to me and we deal with each other like men, and I and welcome you to my fold, and then you over there messing with my wife. It's a bit, it's a bit much for a man. Women handle things differently, right? What people don't give enough credit to is the strength of a woman. A woman handles things so much differently than men do, right? So with a woman may find out you messing around with her cousin and she can forgive you. Like, her, it's a different type of pride. And then you have the women that will say they forgive you and then go and get back, right? But a lot of women can actually forgive infidelity. It's proven a lot of women can forgive infidelity. Men can't, right? Especially when a man feels like you violated his trust in some kind of way. So, what happened between Papoose and Easy the Block Captain? It was rumored for however long, and it was enough people there to give the rumors validation. But Papoose has never said, okay, this is what I did, or this is why I did what I did, until today. And it was a picture posted of Easy the Block Captain and Remy Ma taking pictures in front of the Christmas tree. And that's crazy. Right? That's crazy. It's like the ultimate violation. But um in today, we come to find out that Papoose was dealing with Clarissa Shields. And I, Remy, I've never seen Remy fight. Remy probably don't want that smoke, though. Not only is Clarissa Shields a really great boxer, she on all the action. She looking for the smoke. I seen Clarissa on Facebook, like, I'm running out of sparring partners who want to pull up. Like, look, who want to pull up? I'm looking for the action. And it was a girl on there that I guess she must have been beating people up in her neighborhood, and she not giving enough credit to a person being trained, to being conditioned. And she took her little chunky self in that ring and got bounced around that ring. And I'm like, look, man, you don't one thing about fighting, if you fight enough, then you understand how important it is to be conditioned, right? I post clips of me in the gym and stuff. And I may have posted 2 clips in the last week, and I've been in the gym every day, like literally every day the past 6 days. And what you gotta realize is conditioning, once you start to condition yourself, you respect the people in optimal condition, right? You have to respect the people in optimal condition. So if I get on the treadmill and I run 2 miles, right, and I tap out at 2 miles, I respect the person who gets on there and runs 5 miles a day. I get on there And if I run 5 miles a day, I gotta respect the person who runs 10 miles a day. Like it's literally you respect the conditioning once you try the conditioning. And what happens is a lot of people don't respect conditioning. They don't respect the hands until they feel them, right? Until they feel them. And I'm not knocking Remy and anybody else, but all of these, like, surgically impaired bodies and all this stuff, getting a six pack from the doctor is not the same as going to that gym and working your behind off and going to get it, right? Because the conditioning, right? Because you could have had a terrible diet and you could have went and sat down on that operating table and got whatever you felt like was excess cut off you and you could look good. But to actually be conditioned to fight every single day, right? Even on a day off, you're still conditioned to fight today. It's different. So I don't want to see Remy, talking crazy to Clarissa Shields. She the GWOAT for a reason. She's fighting other conditioned fighters. You gotta respect it. I don't think Remy is crazy. I mean, you could be whatever you want to be online, but in reality, it is what it is. I'm a really good fighter. Like, you know what I'm saying? I handle my business. I'm like a lot above, I'm way above average strong, probably in the 2, 3 percentile or something crazy. Like I'm like very strong. But I'm not talking about running up on somebody that's even somebody older than me like Floyd. Like I'm not about to threaten him. And then when I see you in, bro, you gotta respect conditioning. You gotta respect professionalism. Same same thing with battle rap, right? So I'm a really good rapper, but I'm not jumping in a battle rap like jumping at the top guy. Like, come on, like you don't jump at the top guy. Now I can come in with other people that's just getting they beak wet and we can, spar it out and work our way up. But when you are conditioned, when you are conditioned to fight other conditioned fighters regularly, it's a difference. So I don't really care about who did what to who first. They going back and forth online. Well, you cheated on me, you cheated on me. Man, people get cheated on every day, B. People get cheated on every day, B. That's just real life. And for her to be for Remy to talk about, oh, Papoose was cheating on me while I was, girl, you was in jail. You know what I mean? I did a bit. My lady did about 4 years with me. I don't ask her what happened while I was gone. She, she gave me her story, but I don't ask. It ain't my business. I'm gone. Right. So the man did 6 years with you. You have been on record saying that he came to visit you every day, which is a little crazy. I don't know if you can really get visits every day. Maybe she meant every visiting day. And she also said that he was on the phone with her every day. So that's love, y'all. That gets you through a bit, right? So what I see with with women when they cheat, what men have to realize about women when they cheat is always your fault. It doesn't matter if she cheated first or you cheated first, right? As a man, if your woman cheats on you, it's your fault, right? Because what people are going to do is people are going to say, "Oh, it's your fault because you didn't treat her right, right? It's your fault because you didn't do X, Y, and Z." You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter in any way, form, or fashion. Is your fault. As a man, your woman cheating on you is your fault because they're gonna find a reason for you to be the reason, right? They're gonna find a reason for you to be the reason. It's just the way that it is. And the way that that works is okay, let's say you are a man and you go work your 9 to 5 every day and you come home and you pay all the bills. You lay in the pipe, you cook, you clean. If your woman cheat on you, she's gonna say, "Well, he didn't give me enough attention. He didn't love me. Yes, he took care of me, but he didn't fulfill me emotionally, right? Even though you were out paying bills, you were cooking, cleaning, humping good, you was doing everything you were supposed to do. If a woman go out and cheat on you, it's still your fault. Like it's literally the way that society views the man, right? It's still your fault. Well, he should have took care of her emotionally. Well, he should have did X, Y, and Z. Well, right? So let's say it's something else. Let's say you are a man that does everything for your woman emotionally. You cook, clean, take care of kids, you listen to her problems, and sometimes you give advice, sometimes you just rub her back or feet, whatever she says hurts, and you do all of this stuff, right? And then you could be paying the bills, you doing everything, right? You don't forget laying a pipe. You gotta be laying a pipe, right? So you do all of this stuff, right? And then she cheats on you, it's still your fault. Well, jackpot, why is that my fault? It is still your fault because they're going to say you should have listened to her, right? You should have listened to her. When she told you to get another job, you should have listened to her. She should have this, right? Or they're going to tell you it's your job to provide. So you got laid off from your job for 30 days, right? And let's say the the better the position you had before, the harder it may be for you to find something equivalent. So now you're looking for a job and your lady feels like, well, you're not taking care of me anymore in 30 days, right? Right? Let's say you have a little bit of savings and you can last the first 30 days. You get into the third 30 days, right? You 90 days in and things start to get rough for you, right? And you've been taking care of this woman for, let's say, 10 years. And now you got 90 days of, trying to figure it out. Your savings is dwindling down. You have a woman here that feels like, oh my God, how is he going to pay the bill next month? Right? How is he going to pay the mortgage next month? How is he going to keep my phone on next month? So she slides out on you. It's still your fault because you should have maintained your employment and you should have been able to cover everything that you've been covering for the past 10 years. I'm trying to explain to you how society views this, right? And there's nothing you can do about it. It's still your fault. It's still your fault. It's literally nothing you can do about it. It's nothing you can do about it. It's gonna be your fault. So whether Papoose cheated or he didn't cheat, whatever he did, the fact that Remy Maz ran to the arms of another man is still going to be Papooses fault, right? So it doesn't matter if he cheated with 10 women or if his money slowed down because his career wasn't what it used to be. It doesn't matter what happened. It's always going to be his fault. He could have did 20 years with this woman. She could have came home and started humping around behind his back immediately, and it was going to be his fault. The women online was going to drag him no matter what. No matter what. So we can talk about black love and whatever else we want to talk about. At the end of the day, if I do a lot for my family, I don't pay 100% of the bills, but I pay a lot of the bills. I cover a lot of expenses. And let's say we ended up in the street, right? Let's say just me, I have a woman and I have 4 kids, right? Um, let's just say we ended up in the street. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. It's gonna be my fault, right? So I maneuver like it's gonna be my fault, right? Once I understood this concept, it helped me maneuver differently. And as a man, you have to accept this concept that no matter what, it's your fault. Because once you accept that concept, then you understand your responsibility better and you start to make decisions based on the fact that the end result is going to be on your back no matter what, right? Yeah, we got a couple of comments here, y'all. Let me show y'all a couple comments. So the no nonsense gang, what's up, James? So James says, Gucci Mane got a real one. Keisha set a good pace, so when he came home, he had hella cheese, um, from the money he left her. If I'm not mistaken, he left her like, was it 3 and he came home to like 6. I don't wanna, you know, inflate or, pretend like I know the exact numbers, but it was something like that if I recollect correctly. That's cool, right? So this is a little different situation, right? So even in his situation, he was locked up and he left her money. Remy, I don't know what her pockets was like before she went in there. I have a guy that's from New York and he's from Buffalo. And he was arguing with me in the feds. He say, bro, Remy did. Remy didn't sell no real records before she went in there. She had a hot single that she was an artist on, and then she had Conceited and a couple other decent features, right? And I don't know what her money was like, but I'm almost willing to bet that her money did not pay the bills for 6.5 years, right? I'm almost willing to bet that her money did not pay the bills for 6.5 years. Where Gucci Mane money could pay the bills, and it was enough for her to invest and do things with, for her to double that money, right? So even if Gucci Mane came home and he found out that Keisha Dior was back messing with uh Yo Gotti, 'cause that's who she was messing with before the Gucci Mane situation. Well, who she messed with before, I won't know, I'm not saying they were in a relationship, but they had prior dealings. So let's say she got back with Gucci Mane because Gucci Mane was taking off. Boom, I'm going to chase this bag, whatever. I mean, she got back with Yo Gotti because Yo Gotti was taking off and Gucci Mane in jail. Like, look, I need to pay my bills. I have a certain lifestyle that I'm, accustomed to, X, Y, and Z, whatever. And I'm going over here and chase this Memphis bag with the cocaine music, right? So let's say she did that. It's not gonna be her fault. This is my point. It's not gonna be her fault. If Keisha Dior decided she wanted to go mess with somebody else while Gucci Mane was in jail, no one was gonna blame her. It was gonna be Gucci Mane's fault for going to jail. Why did you go to jail? That's why your woman left you. No matter what, as men, we have to take this responsibility and we have to take it seriously. No matter what happens, it's our fault. I was gone for about 3 years and 9 months, and my lady held it down. Like, my lady went through stuff. My lady, at one point, she just mentioned it. She had lost a car, like, the car went down and she found her way up there, and like, everything was crazy, right? And I'm like, dang, this just today, a couple hours ago, I'm like, dang, you did that, right? As a man, I don't know if I could have handled everything that she handled, especially with the 3 kids we have together. Well, uh that's in the house, and then I have another one outside of here that that she was taking care of, and I'm not sure if I could have handled that. Like, we have to be realistic, right? I got to take my hat off to that because it's two of us now and our schedules pull every which way but loose. She just came back from Florida about 3 or 4 days ago with my daughter and the cheerleader, and I have to go to Vegas for 3 or 4 days this week, and it's like Christmas the next week, and we have to make all of these plans, and my daughter is still cheering. She's on an all-star team, so that's even more money coming out, but not just the money. We have to get her to practice throughout the winter, and I'm trying to tell you, having to hold a household down alone is hard, especially if you don't got $3 million to do it. And I'm saying Papoose handled his business. So for her to bring up the fact that, oh my God, it was multiple women while I was away, that's crazy to me. Like, who cares? For him to have handled his business at home and then to make sure you were okay for 6.5 years. And I mean, not just I'm here if you need me, but I'm here. I have you. It's a different feeling. I've done a bit 2 different ways. I've done a bit with women that wanted to just be a part of something, and I've done a bit with a woman who said, I got you, and actually had me. Um, there are people who are probably tuned into this live or in different instances that were locked up with me in the feds a few years ago. My lady was up there so much, so much. And I was like feeling bad for her for dragging these kids out so much, especially in the winter. I'm like, I know we only like an hour or so away, but you don't have to get these kids ready every Saturday and Sunday and Friday sometimes and Thursday nights. Like it was literally so much that you had to respect it, right? You had to respect it. And then to hold it down to the point that when you come home, I'm gonna do everything that I promised you I'm gonna do. I can't say that I'm tripping on whatever he did while you were in there sexually, right? As long as he didn't have kids on you, and as long as he didn't have babies outside of y'all agreement, unless that was something that you guys talked about and were okay with, right? So when people prison is it strains a relationship, especially if you have children. Prison is crazy, y'all. Prison is crazy. Like I wouldn't lie to y'all and tell y'all, oh, it's a cakewalk or it's whatever. Like prison is crazy, y'all. And it's crazy, especially to be a single parent and have the other parent in prison. So not only do you have to care for the children who were left behind, you have to also care for the person who is incarcerated. And I have been that person. And I'm telling you, I'm not sure if I could have been on the other end and not caved into the pressure of getting some assistance, right? Getting a woman to help me raise my kids, right? Even if it's look, man, I look, my woman coming home. I don't know, but I'm a little different because I'm the type of person who's very realistic in that, right? People who know me gonna like, yeah, dog, real. Like I'm not the person that's overly concerned with your body. Like I'm not that person. Like I'm never going in my woman's phone. I'm never doing something. Like I'm just not doing that, right? Now, in my lower self years and years ago, maybe like when I was, mentally, not stable, like, I was going through whatever. I've done it before. I won't say I've never done it, but as a 35, 40-year life, I'm not going through no woman phone. My woman phone could be right here in front of me, wide open, and I'm not gonna be like, well, let me see what you got. Listen, man, that's not my business. Because what happens is if you go through somebody's phone, like it looks like Remy went through Papooses phone and found all of this other stuff and this information and even stuff about Clarissa Shields, whatever. When you go through someone's phone, you're likely to find something that you could be mad about, right? When you go in somebody's phone, you can find something. It can be the smallest thing. You can go, a woman can go through her husband's phone and somebody say, hey, big head is over. He didn't even have to respond. You getting some heifer call you big head? I know what that mean. Y'all messing around. You know what I'm saying? So, um, whatever their situation is, I don't know the whole story, and I'm telling you, it's gonna get messy. It's gonna get messy. I know that it's gonna get messy because these are two New York bulls. Like, right? These two battle heads, street, attitudes, aggression, everything, and no one is gonna concede. So eventually more and more dirt will be brought out and we'll get a rather full story. And I don't know what Remy Ma was referring to when she said if sexual secrets come out, they were exposed by Papoose too, because he already threatened that. And I was like, dang, what is he talking about? You know what I'm saying? So what is she talking about? I don't know. So that was just my consensus. I have only looked into this matter for about 15 minutes while I put together my real life news clip, right? So that's just my take. If y'all have anything else to say, y'all can actually come on here. I can shoot y'all a link, or y'all could just comment in this section, and I can bring it on the chat board. Right? It's really easy. Once again, if you are not following me on YouTube, you can follow me on YouTube, y'all. That's it right there. Right? Follow me on YouTube. Whoop, showing y'all that. So now, in other news, right? So we're gonna get to a little other news, right? Um, have y'all seen this Jamie Foxx special? Right? Have y'all seen this Jamie Foxx special? The Jamie Foxx special was it was actually pretty dope, right? Let me see. Let me get this off. There we go. Oop, let me go to the presidential pardons that want to act right now. So today, Joe Biden, he pardoned 39 people, right? They say this is the largest single day of pardons ever, right? Today he pardoned 39 people. And these pardons were mostly nonviolent people. Um, so that when you see something and it's talking about nonviolent people, it's usually either white collar crimes or drug crimes, right? Because most of the time, nonviolent includes rape, includes includes like I'm sorry. Violent crimes include rape, robbery, murder, and even non-violent crimes. When they say it, sometimes they exclude certain gun charges because you could have a gun charge and you could be a felon in possession, or you could be something like that, or you could have a charge. You can have a gun charge and you could be a violent gun charge, right? I mean, you can have a violent gun charge or a non-violent gun charge based on the type of charge they give you. So if it's crazy, right? But literally the same type of gun, you can have the same type of case and the charge is different. So in the feds, what I came to learn was that the type of charge matters, right? So they have a 922G, which is a gun charge that say you may have been protecting drugs or whatever. It's crazy the way that they classify these gun charges. So in this gun charge, you are not eligible to get certain things in the feds. Like you got a 922G, you can't do this. And then this other one's 922J, 922C, 920. So you got these type of gun charges that are similar in nature. It could literally be two words within this charge that makes you ineligible for a certain type of good time or a certain type of program that will give you good time. So you have to be cognizant of what you're being charged with. In the feds, you don't pay for a lawyer to beat the case. It's highly likely that a lawyer is going to beat the case unless you're innocent and they just trying to stack the books against you. So what you do in the feds is you fight the charge down, you fight the guidelines, you fight everything like that. So in my particular case, I started off with a RICO case, right? Enhancements and all of that, right? So this is correct, right? You got all kind of sentencing enhancements, you got all kind of stuff like that, right? So this is how the feds nail you to the cross. So in my particular case, in 2015, I was indicted, and it was a RICO case. Initially, it was like, okay, we gonna hang you to the floorboards. It was basically the feds' way of trying to get me to cooperate. We're gonna give you this case because it's it's our biggest bargaining tool because it's the case that gets you the most time. In a RICO case, you don't even need the strongest evidence. You can get 50 years in a RICO case and they don't even need any concrete evidence, right? The feds could give you life and they could never see you with a ounce of dope. They could never see you with a gun. They can never do this, right? The feds can give you life from you agreeing to meet someone on the phone. That's all they have is you agreeing. Okay, bet I'll meet you up there, and you just join the indictment, right? The feds could give you a leadership role in a RICO case for you taking uh donations or you keeping the bank or whatever, or um you giving out instructions, whatever. You could not give instructions to commit a crime and somebody else can go commit a crime and you can be charged as the head of this RICO case because they're calling you the leader, right? You have a leadership role and you haven't told anyone to do anything illegal. But because they do illegal things and they pay you dues every month, you can go to jail for the rest of your life. The feds, the way that they have their law set up is everything is in favor against you and in favor of you pleading out. So when you look at their conviction rate and the conviction rate is 98, 99%, it's because they stack the books against you. By the time the feds say, hey, we want to talk to you, the feds already have somebody who's willing to cooperate against you. They already have probably video or audio or some other type of surveillance. They already have so much against you that they figure once they put half of their cards on the table, you're gonna run for the nearest door to get up out of here, right? You're gonna run for the nearest door to get up out of here, right? So when it said that, if you read the ticker, it says right here, that Joe Biden pardoned 39 people and he commutes the sentence of 1,500 others. The 39 people were all non-violent criminals, and the 1,500 people were people that went home on tether and home confinement during the pandemic. So these are people that have been home for 3, 4, some of them years, and now they're being pardoned because it's basically a waste of the taxpayer money. If you've been home for 4 years under strict supervision and you've been able to fly under the radar if you're doing something wrong, or you've totally given up the criminal lifestyle, then they are wasting their time and resources allowing you to stay on some type of papers or stay on home confinement or anything else because they can use those resources for people who need them. How the feds work is there are sentencing guidelines and sentences, and you can get 10 years. You can get in there with your 10 years, you can get some good time, get out in 7 years. After that 7 years, you can have up to a year of halfway house. So they can give you a halfway house at the 6 year mark, right? And then 6 months into that, you can have access to home confinement because there are 6 months worth of home confinement available. Now, if you get the drug program, RDAP, you can get a whole year off. So now your 6 year turn into your 5th year. So out of 10 years, you can get all the way down to 5 years or less just by doing the right programs and doing all of that. So with COVID, so I haven't spoke on this a lot, but during COVID, it was a few ways you can get out. So during COVID, they have compassionate release, and then they have I forgot what the other one's called, but the compassionate release is done through the courts, and then they can give you another form of release through the institution. I forgot which one. But basically, in order to get to the court, you had to go through your institution and be denied. So I'm cool with a guy that went through the court. So initially he we both wrote in to be released from the institution. When I put in to be released from the institution, they tried to say my points were too high. But I understand how this system work. And I came in, I said, no, this is wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. I should fit the criteria to be released, right? I should fit the criteria to be released. My counselor went my well, it was a heiress. He went back in and he did the recalculating and he was like, you know what? You're right. You fit the conditions to be released early on this institutional compassionate release. Basically, like, we can let you go early because you fit these requirements, which were, it was pretty simple. Like, you didn't have any tickets since you've been there. It was like a bunch of little criteria, and I fit the criteria. My points were low enough. I was not a security risk. Everything that needed to be met, I met. Right. So they gave me the release. I'm like, all right. So I'm waiting to go to uh quarantine, which was really the whole. So I'm waiting to go to quarantine and I'm trying to help my guys get out. So one of my guys, he come and he say, look, man, they denied me. I said, that's cool. All you need to do is write the judge and let the judge know you need a lawyer to file your compassionate release, right? You need to file for your compassionate release. And he did it. Literally, he did it, went, sat, wrote the judge a quick letter. They gave him a lawyer. So when I was on my way out, he was waiting on a decision from the judge, because they had filed his compassionate release. I'm going to quarantine. I get into quarantine, and a couple days later, he come in there. They approve me. I leave. He said I leave on the 21st. I was leaving on August 18th. I was like, bet we out this boy. You know what I'm saying? So we in quarantine together for like 2, 3 weeks till he left. Cause the way that the court compassionate release work, they have to let you go that day. You are no longer a federal inmate on this date. They got to get you out of here. How my release work was, I was still, it was institutionally granted. So I was sitting in there and just waiting for my date. But I had to be tested twice. I had to have 2 COVID tests. I needed one the day I came in, and I needed one 2 weeks later, which would have been the results would have been available 2 or 3 days before I left. And both of those tests had to come back negative. So I'm waiting in there, and they never gave me the first one. And I said, look, I know I'm supposed to have a COVID test. Why aren't y'all testing me? And they was like, no, you don't need it. You going to home confinement, you good. I said, nah, y'all need to come test me. And they argue with me. I'm telling you, I talked to the warden, I talked to so many people, the head nurse, everybody. Nah, you good. So I come time for me to leave. My area room come and he say, my unit manager came. He said, he like, Heal, I don't know what's going on. You not medically cleared to leave. And it was me and another guy we had came in together. We did everything together. We quarantined together for like 3 weeks at this time. And we supposed to leave the next morning together. And they were like, look, you don't fit the requirements. I said, what you mean I don't fit the requirements? He like, they're not, you got a health hold on you. So I told him, I said, would that be a health hold because I wasn't given the first COVID test. I was only given the one last week. And he was like, let me check on it. Come to find out that was the reason they held me up. So now I got to call home because I'm supposed to come home to my woman and kids the next morning. And now I got to call home and say, look, they not letting me out. I don't know how long I'm going to be in here, right? Mind you, I'm going home. So I done gave everything away but my headphones so I can listen to my radio while I'm in quarantine. I done gave so much stuff away. I'm talking about clothes, so much other stuff. I done gave so much stuff away. Um, and I'm just like ready to go home. So now it's like, nah, we not letting you go home. Right? You got this medical hold. We got to get another test. So now we have to sit and wait a whole nother week because the COVID tests have to be at least a week apart, mind you. Now they had to be 2 weeks apart. I apologize. And we had took a COVID test the week before. So, oh, I'm sorry. They had to be at least a week apart. So now we got to take this new COVID test, right? And we gotta wait 2 weeks to take this new COVID test. It was crazy, bro. So we gotta wait a week to take the test and then wait another week for the result. It was crazy, man. Like, so we in here like another 2 weeks because they messed up and didn't give us the first COVID test. So now we just sitting in quarantine, right? Yep. We just sitting in quarantine, right? So while we sitting in quarantine, my my unit manager come back. And he like shaking his head. He like, man, he like, I just don't know how to tell you this. Like, man, you guys are not going home. I'm like, what? Mind you, I was supposed to been home 2 weeks ago. So now I have to call back home and say, look, I'm not coming home. Like they changed, they like, now you don't fit the criteria. The criteria changed 2 days ago. Now you don't fit the criteria. I said, that doesn't make sense because I wasn't supposed to be here 2 days ago. I wasn't supposed to be here. Why do I need to fit a criteria when I wasn't supposed to be here? I was supposed to went straight home to quarantine. So he like, don't worry about it. You only a month away from your halfway house date. I'ma straighten this out for you, right? This what he tell me. He say, man, you a month away from your halfway house date. I'ma straighten this out for you. I'ma get you home. Even though you already got 6 months of halfway house, I'ma give you the whole year. I already talked to the halfway house. They got the room for you. They got a bed space for you. I just gotta resubmit your recommendation. Listen, y'all. I sat in there. We paid a lawyer to file my compassionate release in court because you needed a denial from the institution that I didn't get in July, right? In July, they didn't deny me. They approved me in July and sent me to quarantine for 3 weeks, and I was going home August 18th. So now I had to go back to my unit and look stupid because I was already dapped everybody up, hugged them. Look, y'all, here go my lady number. Just call her. She gonna give you my new cell phone number. Y'all just call me. I'm out this joint. We cool. Boom, we good. And then I gotta walk back. People like, what? And I'm in quarantine. People thinking I'm already home. Some people, right? They like, dog, good. You know what I'm saying? So nope, it wasn't Grand Prairie. I'm telling you what it was. So basically I go back to the unit. Yeah, I apologize. Grand Prairie changed the qualifications. So they changed the qualifications and then they said I no longer fit the health reasons to be released because you needed a prior medical condition now, right? So I had to go back. I was literally maybe 3.5 weeks away from my halfway. My halfway house date was 6 months away, but I was like 3 weeks away from that full year that they just told me they were gonna give me. They were like, "Look, we gonna get you out of here, man. We messed up." But I get back to the unit. Do you know he never filed that paperwork? So another heiress come over there and I ask her, I say, ma'am, this is my situation and this is what's going on. And she told me, she said, listen, he'll because me and her had a decent report, and she like basically gave me the scoop. She said all he has to do is come in here, and she showed me on the computer. She said all he got to do is come in here, and where they put 6 months at for your recommendation before, they just got to change it to 12 months, click okay and send. It's going to update the recommendation. The halfway house already approved you for a year. You're going to get out of here. Like she basically was like, they're waiting on you. You got a bed, right? So they do all of that. I mean, they don't do that. She showed me that, but they don't do that. This man consistently lied to me. He consistently told me he was gonna do it and consistently didn't do it. So now I didn't pay like $2,000 for this lawyer. Or it might have been more. It might have been like 25. I don't know. It was like a few $1,000s for this lawyer because now I'm fighting in court. So now I realize now I got anxiety. They didn't like they towed me up because I've been in quarantine trying to go home. Quarantine was terrible. It was the hole. I was literally in the hole for 3 weeks to go home, and then 3 weeks knowing I wasn't going home, basically. So I was in there for 6 weeks just to get back to my unit and know that whenever I can need to go home, I gotta go back through this situation all over again. So I get back. Now, the guy who was in there with me was from another unit. His heiress handled his business. He went back to his unit, which was the RDAP unit, the program unit. His heiress put him back in, got him a year halfway house. He was back in quarantine in maybe 3 weeks, a month, whatever. He was already back in quarantine heading home. Me and him are right now to this day. But he was heading home. I was still in there fighting in the courts, fighting the heiress to click a couple buttons, y'all, to send me home after they messed up and left me hanging. At no point did this man tell me I'm not putting you in. At no point did this man tell me forget about it, leave me alone. Every time I seen this man, which might have been 2, 3 times a week, this man told me, I'm gonna take care of you, Mr. Hill. Mr. Hill, I'm gonna take care of you. He did this until this was in September when I went back, early September. My halfway house date that I could have went to halfway house was October 4th. We literally we literally fought in court for 2 or 3 months until December. I got denied in December. And that's because the judge said, although I fit the criteria for compassionate release, he wasn't going to grant it for me because Mylan, which is the institution I was at, had dealt with their COVID cases and their numbers were down. While while they had one of the worst outbreaks in federal institutions, this is what the judge says. They seem to have got a hold of it. Now you got to think about the fact that you guys approved me, right? Y'all approved me and sent me to quarantine for 6 weeks. And I was approved maybe a month before that. So this is about 3 months worth of fighting with y'all. Then I had to spend another 3 months fighting in the court. And now the cases are low. I get denied compassionate release. Whereas you could have denied me before, and I could have went in there the same way as my buddy did and got out through the court. So this is the situation you had to deal with them, right? So I fought another month or so after being denied. Now that I'm denied from the judge, I know I have to get out with this this halfway house stuff, right? I need them to go in here and do this. So I start writing Grand Prairie. That's crazy. That see, people know what they know, right? People know what they know, right? The no nonsense gang Jane say, are you talking about Grand Prairie, right? Yeah. So I had to write Grand Prairie. Then I had to write regional. I had to write the region to say my situation is this, and my heiress is not putting in my halfway house, even though he's promising it to me. I've literally been here and I've spent thousands of dollars on a lawyer to be denied because the cases, I just broke down this whole situation and they were like, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. And no joke, I wrote them, and maybe the next week they were like, you have a new halfway house date, right? I had to go over my institution, even though my institution messed over me so badly, right? So badly, because even if they just denied me off the rip, the COVID cases in Milan were so high that my particular judge was letting everybody out. My guy who I just talked about, everybody was getting out that didn't have violent cases and were close to being home and they fit, certain criteria. He was letting us out, right? Yep, Elkton, Milan, New Orleans, all of that's crazy. Man, people know what they know, yo. I'm just telling y'all that I ain't just making stuff up, right? You're right. I had to write Grand Prairie. So then I had to write the region. It was Bilsby or something like Billingsby. I had to write Billingsley. That's who it was, Billingsley. I had to write Billingsley and then somebody else. Listen, y'all, I was writing when anybody who was there with me when I had to go back. No, I had anxiety. I was at the law library machine all day. And that was good and bad because I'm on this law library machine. And it's man, listen, y'all. Y'all don't know people till y'all know their case, right? Y'all don't know people till they y'all gotta know their case. So I'm on there, and it was people that was like, oh, I got this type of case, I got that type of case, and they putting in for this compassionate release, and then the judge is putting your business on this law library machine. Mine is on there now because once he denied me, your case come up. So now you got these people cases, bro, and you start reading these people cases, bro, and it'll mess you up. How messed up these people are. You start realizing people rats, people rapists, people. You like, dang, because people shooting they shot. They can go home 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years early. They shooting they shot. It was people that went home 6, 7, 8 years early because they fit certain criteria. They had health risks, whatever, right? So it was one guy we didn't even know. He ended up, he had AIDS. No joke. I ain't laughing at him. I'm just saying we didn't know. It ain't like he looked the healthiest. I'm just saying we didn't know he had AIDS, right? So we look on the computer. He was like one of the first people with this compassionate release. So we didn't know. And then as I'm doing all of my research and going through everything, I'm like, dang, y'all, dog got you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? We didn't know. And you know what I mean? Technically in our business, well, none of the guys I'm cool with was sexually active with him. He didn't like he wasn't on chasing boys or nothing. So at the end of the day, all your business was going on a law library machine. So I'm reading all these cases, and my judge is letting people off. Lawson, with David M. Lawson was letting people off. I'm talking about left and right. I'm talking about everybody getting out. Anybody nonviolent, anybody that fit the criteria, people were getting out, right? So I get denied because the COVID cases didn't drop now. Now it's 4, 5, 6 months later, COVID cases drop. So with all of this stuff, um, it was crazy, right? So now I'm really tripping. Now I done got denied. Now I'm writing Billingsley and everybody else in the region is and I'm writing, and they give me some action. So I get out of there the beginning of February, 2021. Right, I get out of there and I go to quarantine. I go home the 21st of February, I believe it was, or something like that. But it was crazy because my halfway house date was that October that had passed, but my home confinement date was like April 6th or something. So I was only in the halfway house for about 2 months, and I got up out of there. So now the people that Joe Biden has pardoned, back to that. I gave y'all all this stories so y'all can understand what he did with these 1,500 people, right? So with the 39 people that Joe Biden gave the pardons to, Those are people who had nonviolent cases that had extreme amounts of time. They may have 30 years, 40 years, and that's crazy for nonviolent crimes. But I'm telling y'all, a lot of black and brown people get these type of sentences for nonviolent cases, and it's crazy. But Joe Biden, he showed some love today. And then he showed love to 1,500 people. I know, and I didn't see my guy on the list, right? But I got homies who are still on tethers since 2000. 2001, 2000, I mean, since 2020, 2021, 2022, they are still on tethers. I only did about 17 and a half, 18 months on tether because I wrote up for a shortening of my probation, and I was only on tether. Well, I was only on tether for 6 months, but I was only on probation for about 17 and a half, 18 months because I got off. But these people are on like high security tethers, high security probation because they got out with this COVID relief, right? They got out on COVID relief. So he let off 1,500 of those people. It's a difference in the pardons and the commutations, right? It's a difference. The pardons mean we're gonna let you go. Your case is no longer important to us, whatever. Is we don't feel like you were done right or whatever. We're gonna pardon you. You good. You go on about your business. These commutations, they are not saying that you didn't do anything or we gonna forgive your case. These commutations are, let's get you off of this tether and go ahead and go about your business. So it's just a different thing. Shout out to Joe Biden for what he did, y'all. It's a beautiful thing, right? So um let's talk about something else. Whoop, whoop. Let's see what else we got. Okay, back to the the Jamie Foxx situation, okay? So let's talk about the big Jamie Foxx show, right? So Jamie Foxx's show was actually pretty good, right? Jamie Foxx show was really good. It wasn't a comedy show. I thought it was a comedy show. I thought he was gonna go on stage and do comedy. I have been a little I have been a little not excited to see these comedy shows. I like Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is like one of my favorite comedians. I like Eddie Murphy, raw type of comedy. I like Red Fox. I like raw comedy. I like Shut Up. I like smackdown comedy, drag through the mud comedy. I like real problematic comedy. Like I like really aggressive comics. I don't like Nick Cannon. I'm sorry. I don't like Kevin Hart, right? I just my thing, right? I'm not knocking them or people that like them, but this a little more feminine is like a little more feminine type of comedy to me, right? So I don't like these particular types of comedians. So when I get these watered down comedy shows and I'm not as excited, right? And it's crazy because these comedy shows are they're bigger because Netflix is buying them, the Cinemax, whoever buying these comedy shows, they pumping them up, they putting a lot of money into these particular shows, and then they're not as like, man, bro, we had some great comedy coming up. Even these even though they're on Netflix and HBO Cinema, these are not even as good as Comic View, right? These not as good as BET's Comic View, right? Because they can't say certain things that everybody is so sensitive and it like waters down the comedy. Some of these roasts are pretty good because they go in a little bit, but I love raw, drag out, knockdown comedy, and I'm not getting that from a lot of these specials, y'all, and it's making me a little less excited, right? I'm just keeping it 1,000. It's just the way I feel about it. Other people can feel other ways, but I love that you saying the N word in the comedy show. I love that you saying the F word. I love that you dogging white people or black people, whatever. I love that you touch on, if you homophobic, whatever. I love that. Go in there, go hard. And now people are, it's so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so, the comedy is kind of trash. I'm trying to be nice, y'all. The comedy nowadays is kind of trash. Like people got their own platforms and they do pretty good, but a lot of these big time specials and stuff, they're just not as good, man. And it's sad, y'all. It's just not as good and it's sad. George Wallace, there we go. Dave Chappelle, Bernie Mac, Robin. See, this what I want to touch on. I told somebody today about Robin Harris, right? So like Robin Harris was literally a no holds bar. I talked about him earlier when I talked about this particular show with Jamie Foxx, right? And Jamie Foxx used to be a lot raw, but it's like now even the comics that we grew up on, like a Rodney Dangerfield who could say whatever the hell he wanted to say, even the old Dave Chappelle, if the new Dave Chappelle things are so they're so watered down now, it's not even that funny. The same thing with Mike Epps. And they're like, you have to watch what you say. And it's not just for Netflix, it's not just for TV, it's not just for something that you plan on doing on the internet. You literally have to watch what you say at your shows because people are recording it and you don't want to offend anybody, right? You don't want to lose sponsorships and do all of this stuff, right? So it's watering down our comedy. So back to Jamie Foxx's special, it was not a comedy show. So that's why this it asks, is it a comedy show or is it the beginning of something special? So although it wasn't a real comedy show, it was actually very entertaining. He sung on there, he did some acting, he did some of his most famous roles, and he talked about what he went through when we didn't hear from him for a few months and all of that stuff. And it was very entertaining, even though it wasn't a pure comedy show, right? It was funny and entertaining, even though it wasn't a pure comedy show. And the reason that I say that it's the start of something new and something special is because other people have situations that they go through, and it's a lot of speculation. Like he touched on the fact that people talked about him being a clone, and he like, look, man, I'm a special type of person. You can't just clone me. Like, look, I dance, I act. I sing, I play this piano, I do all of this stuff. You not just gonna clone me. You can't walk in somewhere and clone me, right? I'm a special type of talent, and he is. So that was dope. So it's dope that um you have the platform to come and address everything. You don't have to just do it on your social media. You can do it on whatever you want to do it on, and you can do it on this big platform and do it with so much planning and so much articulation. He brung his daughter out, and his daughter played the guitar while he sung, and it was a dope show. And I feel like this is the start of something special. I have a lot of different things that I do, and I would love to come out with a band and do some, some kicking it, some comedy, some music, right? I would love to do that. And I'm like, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? This is dope. It's not like I feel like I'm stuck to this one medium and stuck in explaining myself in this one medium. As you know, I do this, I do business coaching and consulting, I still do music, I do a lot of different things. And I'm like, look, we do not need to pigeonhole ourselves into anyone's box, right? So that's why I said it's the start of something special. Then you have people, and even watching this, it brought me to the mind of somebody like Tom Brady. I'm sorry, not Tom Brady, but what's his name? Wayne Brady, right? So even though I don't think, like I said, I like my comedians raw, dirty, terrible. So he's not one of my favorite comedians or anything like that, but he is a very talented individual, right? A Wayne Brady is a very talented individual. So for him to have an hour of him being able to express himself, even the little thing he went through with his sexuality, whatever he did, he was talking about before he was confused about his sexuality. That's his business. But for him to take something like that and make a show of it, it would be dope. And even though I don't care about your sexuality, it would be dope to put something together and, to sing and to act and to do comedy. And he's a very entertaining person. And I would probably be more likely, most definitely a Sammy Davis Jr., right? And I was gonna get into Tommy Davidson, who actually does a lot of Sammy Davis Jr., right? So, like with Tommy Davidson, he has the same type of range where he can come in and sing and dance and act and do comedy, and that's very entertaining. And we haven't heard from certain people like Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey can do one of these shows and just tell us about his life. Come kick it with us. And that's a very funny person, right? And it could be a little more than just a comedy, like a stand-up routine. So this is definitely the start of something special. And I'm not saying he started it, but on the level that he just did it on, with us actually wanting some answers and him not being very vocal about everything that he went through, this was a great platform for him to come out and him to make his money. And that could be the start of something special for a lot of people that have hyphens, you know, they're multi hyphenated talents, for you to come out and not pigeonhole yourself to just one thing. So what I give that show was probably like an 8 out of 10. I loved it. I just didn't think it was a pure comedy show, right? So if you haven't seen Jamie Foxx's Netflix special, What Had Happened Was, which is actually a dope title too, because that's what people was wondering, like, man, what had happened? So he like, look, man, what had happened was, that's cold, right? That's very well put together. And I like that he implemented and had his family involved in that. That was dope. You know what I'm saying? Everything that he did was dope, as far as the singing, the acting, the little dancing and different things. You know, the music. He incorporated some of his music, some of his features and different things like that. It was a very well put together show, and I liked it. So I'm giving that an 8 out of 10 if you just had to have a number on it. So Nipsey Russell, I'm not as familiar with Nipsey Russell. It's like a little bit before my time. But I remember he had a like a variety show, right? You know what I'm saying? He had like a variety show type of thing. So that's dope too. You know what I'm saying? This wasn't quite that. It just was, it flowed, right? Because I've seen people do like one man shows or one woman shows and do a bunch of stuff, but it wasn't like that. It was like a, it was dope, man. I don't know if people, if you watched it in per se, but it was dope the way it was, like very well put together. So now I want to touch on some other things, y'all. So I talked a little bit about Vince McMahon's wife, and they have a whole sexual case with children, and Trump want to make her the head of education. Listen, this is crazy. This is crazy to me, y'all. I don't want to get too much into politics because it's a rabbit hole that I don't feel like diving into today. But it's we living in a crazy world, like a purely crazy world, that somebody with that type of case hanging over their head would even be considered for that type of position, right? And they want to put the case on hold. They want to pause the case. I don't, what the hell do you mean pause a case? I was on bond for 2 years. My case wasn't paused. I don't know what they mean by pause the case, but you don't pause a case. You don't pause a case that involves minors being mishandled by adults sexually. Like what? You know what I'm saying? But listen, y'all, the political landscape right now is exposing everything about America, and I love it. I love the fact that everything is being exposed, because they cannot hide behind these veils and all this BS they've been hiding behind for the past 200 years. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. They can say Kamala wasn't elected because she wouldn't, like, stop, y'all. It is what it is. They didn't want a woman. They didn't want a black woman. It is what it is. It is what it is. Like, we had to accept the fact that it is what it is, right? And so we had to accept that and everything else that come with it, y'all. We living in a time where it's a crazy time where, oh, everything exposed, but now they got reasonings and BS for everything. So that woman, what was her name? Don't get me the line, man. Don't get me the line. Linda McMahon. She has a case where her husband, where they said that they were letting like ring announcers um violate young women, right? And the statute of limitations was lifted in a in the city that these type of things happened in, and it was a bunch of cases brought on them. And now they're saying that they're putting the cases on pause so this woman can head the education department for Donald Trump. It's crazy. Now, uh, I listened to some music this weekend. I actually listened to Khalid album. His album, Khalid's album is like a pop R&B-ish album. It's not really my flavor. I'm more traditional R&B-ish. I'm more 95 to 2005 R&B-ish. So there are some different artists that I like. I actually have a really good R&B list, and I can put my it's literally open right up to my JP1 playlist. So I have a dope R&B playlist. on Apple, right? And I'm gonna share my playlist as soon as I figure out how to do it on here. I share it from my phone all the time. Excuse me, y'all. Hold on. Let me share it. Okay, I got it. Let me share my playlist. Give me 1 second so I can put it in the comments. Let me copy this playlist link, y'all. I got one of the coldest R&B playlists. Here y'all go. If you like 95 to 2005 R&B, this is the playlist for you. Thank me later. I'm gonna do more of this type of stuff while I'm on here, y'all. I'm kicking the bobos, but I'm trying to give y'all this game too. I got a cold playlist on Apple, y'all. Share it, like it, share it, tell your people about it. But it's like 30, 25, 30 hours worth of music. It's some new R&B on there, and it's some R&B from the 70s and 80s, and I add to it very regularly. Like I add to this playlist so like every day or two I'm adding new songs and different stuff. I just keep adding to this playlist. If you like traditional R&B, especially 95 to 2005, I tell people that's my favorite decade of R&B music. Maybe rap too. It may be my favorite decade of rap. It probably is. So and I'm an 84 baby, but I'm telling you, you click that link to that playlist, you will enjoy yourself. And this new R&B artist that came out after that is like um man, it's a dope playlist. I got some new people that's like literally just coming out you may have never even heard of, but it's dope. The playlist is dope from front to back. I also have an alternative playlist that I'm still building out. I'm not sharing my alternative music with y'all. It also include country. I like country music too. But back to Khalid, right? So Khalid came out about 2 weeks ago and nobody cared. I ain't gonna lie. I don't at this point, you coming out in music and theater and whatever, it's not even important no more. Not for rappers, not for singers. Nobody cares. And he came out the week before his album dropped, and it was like some big scandal on Instagram where some dude was like beefing with him and he exposed him, and nobody cared. And it's like we almost ready for y'all to just be like, you are what you are. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to assume anything about anybody, but it just is what it is, man. That's not even the thing no more, right? So, that was something that happened. Like I said, man, I'm here. I did like it's been over an hour. I'm gonna be back here either tomorrow or Saturday. I'm gonna try to tap in with y'all, if not every day, at least every other day. And I'm gonna give y'all some news like I just did. I'm gonna give y'all some entertainment like I just did, and I'm also gonna give y'all some music and some things that's caught my attention over that day or that two before I went live. I thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please share it with somebody and tell them to follow me. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. I got a little work I need to do.